This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
We have got a very fun week number 4 on tap in the NFL, which actually begins Thursday night with the Packers and the Lions. That game sneakily kind of fun, sneakily kind of important for the NFC in terms of the playoff race as well. But then Sunday, we get Bills versus Dolphins. That game promises to be a thriller. We're going to break down that game, talk about other big games across week number 4, and get you ready by talking to Dr. Ed Feng and picking his brain on his favorite bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. This is Covering the Spread right here on the FanDuel Podcast Network and on FanDuel Research. My name is Jim Sonis. I am a managing editor of digital media for FanDuel Research, joined here once again by Dr. Ed Feng. You can find his work at thepowerrank.com and check him out on Twitter at the Power Rank. And Ed, I am thrilled about this week number 4 slate in the NFL. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I want to know why we can't flex Miami and Buffalo into the Sunday night slot.
I want to on the main slate for daily fantasy, Ed. I called Roger Goodell and was like, hey, buddy, I need Miami, Buffalo on the main slate for DFS. And he said, okay, I will do this just for you. And that's why it's still there.
Wait, why do you need it in the main slate?
I need it for daily fantasy.
Yeah,
if it's Sunday night, it won't be on the main slate anymore. So I got to be selfish, Ed.
Oh, wait. Why does the Sunday night game not matter? Because it's just the 1 p.m. games?
It's just the 1 p.m. and the 4 p.m. games. If you flex it to the afternoon, that'd be fine. I can live with that. But just not Sunday night. That would be a bridge too far.
Well, all right.
I'm sorry to foil your plans to get this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is like clearly the best game.
Yeah,
probably we've gotten all season. So,
oh yeah, this year for sure.
Get a little prime time slot.
You mean you don't want to watch Mahomes versus Wilson instead?
Yeah, my numbers couldn't get to the spread in that game. It was pretty interesting. I was like, why is this not bigger?
Let's see. I have 9.6 for Kansas City.
Yeah, so mine wasn't that big. I'm not exactly sure what it was. I actually posted my public predictions on my site. They are points-based numbers, and they had Kansas City by about like 1.5 points. And I was like, sorry, guys. This is based on a preseason prior that Aaron Rodgers. This is off. Sorry.
Yep. Not much you can do there.
Yeah. Hopefully people don't complain too much.
I think they can use their best judgment. That's what we can hope here for sure.
Well, when I do those predictions, like I kind of rank them based on kind of excitement. So you get more, you get bumped up if it's going to be a close game. You get bumped up if the two teams are good. So yeah, that showed up number 1.
I mean, show me the lie, Ed. If you can. Does your model account for the Taylor Swift factor that she'll be there Sunday night? Is that in the model there?
That definitely must be what happened to bump that game up to number 1.
Okay. The model knows.
Have you blocked Taylor Swift mentions on your Twitter like some people?
I still find it entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too.
Yeah, like that's like my guilty pleasure. I'm like, I know it's oversaturated and the tweets are kind of overdone, but like I still find them funny. So why deprive myself of that pleasure, right?
Right. And I got to tell my wife something about pop culture last Sunday.
I did too. That never happens. I am the most like blinders on. Like I enjoy pop culture, but I'm like terrible with like knowing names, terrible with like knowing like, oh, this person's in that movie, stuff like that. It was great. Like I felt like I for once had a leg up, and that never happens.
Same here.
Yeah. So we'll get to watch that game Sunday night. Luckily, we are not discussing that game for the podcast for today. Instead, we're talking about 3 hopefully competitive games and breaking those down and getting Ed's read on those games based on his model later on. But first, a reminder to make sure you're subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. Up there right now, you can find a Thursday night preview for the Lions and the Packers via Tom Vecchio. Primetime Tom breaking down that game, talking some props for that one. We'll also have tomorrow player props via JJ Zachariason, some strikeout props with pitching ninja Rob Friedman. That is all right here in the same feed. You can find the regular shows on FanDuel TV Plus and FanDuel YouTube as well. To get FanDuel TV Plus, go to FanDuel.com/watch or check out the FanDuel TV Plus app on Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Roku devices. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So those of you in Kentucky who just got betting launched today, new customers, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, totals, and more. So visit FanDuel.com to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only, $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Now, Ed, let's start things off here by talking defense, because we have seen some abominable defense so far this year, especially from teams like the Broncos and Bears who happen to face each other this weekend. Now, I know for me, defense gets less weight in my model than offense because it's tougher to predict, it's less sticky, stuff like that. So I'm fine being skeptical that outlier-ishly bad performances on defense will persist. But I want to know for you, how does your model handle early season defensive stats specifically?
Well, at this point in the season, we are through 3 weeks, so I am able to make schedule adjustments. So, it's in there, and right now it actually has the same weight as offense. I actually spent some time this offseason messing around with trying to de-weight defense when I do my schedule adjustments, and it was pretty interesting because I had to sit down and write down the equations of how my algorithm works. And then I sat and thought about it, and I was like, well, the math doesn't make sense, but screw it. We want answers, right? We want to de-weight the defense. And at the end of the day, it didn't make any sense. Like, the results were nonsensical. It was not how I anticipated it going. And so it didn't work out. Which I think is a lesson. Like, math is math for a reason. And when it kind of doesn't make sense in the formalism, it's not going to work out. So when I make schedule adjustments, I have to treat the offense and the defense the same. That doesn't mean I can't de-weight things later. I've never messed around with that. I think I probably should, but that's something that's going to have to wait for the next offseason.
Now, with the defenses, and we've seen like these really bad ones. Like, for me, I think the reason I'm asking here is because with the Broncos Bears total, I am pretty well below it. I'm also below the total for the Panthers and the Vikings. And I think the reason those totals are high is because the defenses have been so bad to start this year. But for me, I've got, like I said, I have the offense weighted higher, but also there's still a prior baked in there. And the prior is going to be more towards the mean than what we've seen so far. So when I see a total like the Bears Broncos one at 46, and I've got it at 43.8, it's hard for me to get there. And right. I guess for me, that says I want to bet on unders, but I kind of I get a bit nervous about that because those defenses have been so hideous through the first 3 weeks.
For sure. And I think if you don't have some kind of preseason component in there, you're gonna be off because of the small sample size, and the market's gonna probably be better there. Yeah. So, I think what you're saying makes sense. Probably should just stay away from it.
I took the under. I did not. I did not take the wise approach, Ed. I took the under there, and we'll see how it goes. Betting against those two bad defenses. That's one way to view it. I'll view it as betting against some mediocre at best offenses. That's the way I'll view it in my head as we get ready for this week. We do not have mediocre offenses in Buffalo, where the Bills are taking on the Miami Dolphins. So let's talk about that game right now. Spread is at 3 points over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Total is 53.5. And the Dolphins, Ed, went nuts last week, but the Bills have also taken care of business ever since that rocky week 1. So how do you see this battle playing out on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I think the market is right on the money right here. I mean, I have Buffalo by 2.7 points, so pretty much near probably exactly what FanDuel has right now that we're looking at. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. And, I'm personally still seeing really some small sample size effects with Buffalo. I actually have them as the worst pass defensive team in the NFL right now, which is wrong. They're struggling with a poor performance in terms of success rate against Las Vegas. That'll fix itself. They actually have the second best coverage grade by PFF, and you believe that because they have really good corners, and that's why you expect that defense to be good. The truth is obviously somewhere between those two things. I think they're probably an above average defense. So, and the other thing that I want to remind everyone, as good as Miami was yesterday, they're still 2-0 in one-score games. So they did not win by a lot the previous 2 weeks. Had a late score to beat the Chargers, I believe, and had to hold on against the Patriots. They're still are putting Eli Apple out there at corner instead of Jalen Ramsey. Tua Tagovailoa is still an eggshell. So, it's not all like peaches there. I don't see any value in this game. I am excited to watch it because I do think it will be a good game. And so it should be good. Should be fun.
Yeah. Total 53.5, tight spread. That's kind of the formula you want in the NFL. Want some points, want to be back and forth. That's what we get here. Excited to see what the Dolphins do with Jalen Waddle being back. Now the running backs are kind of cooking there as well. So I think it'll be a good game. I do show value in the Dolphins +3. That is currently -115 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Their money line +126. It's one of those games where, I do show value, but I think you could also justify not taking it just because you want to sit back and enjoy this game. Betting can be entertainment and it can also be anti-entertainment. So I think you could view it that way as well with Dolphins and Bills, but it should be a very fun game when Sunday rolls around. Let's talk about an AFC North battle between the Ravens and the Browns, where right now, FanDuel Sportsbook has the Browns favored in this game. The spread is at 2.5 right now. Total for this game is at 40.5. And the Browns lived up to your expectations Ed last week, where you were confused why they were just 3-point favorites against the Titans. They destroyed them. Now facing the Ravens, who are banged up. They've had an uneven start so far. So are you on the Browns once again in week number 4?
No. So I have this game closer to a pick, and I actually thought this might be kind of a nice little buy low spot on Baltimore. They lost to Indianapolis, not without controversy. Justin Tucker misses a field goal of regulation that could have won it. Pass interference is Zay Flowers in overtime as well. The underlying metrics, they were a lot better than Indianapolis. They had 2 fumbles as well. I respect Cleveland, and I think I said a lot of good things about them last week. Defense has been awesome. Offense might get there at some point. Like preseason, I would have made Baltimore about 1.5 favorite in this. I've come back a little bit. I basically is making this game a pick. Thought pretty hard about, betting Baltimore, but the injury list is pretty long. Rashad Bateman's on there. Got 2 of your best linemen on the injury list as well. Marlon Humphrey hasn't played all year. I don't know. I mean, I may look at this again Sunday morning and go out with Baltimore. My numbers are certainly showing value there, but as of right now, this is a stay away from me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, where I have Baltimore or Cleveland favored by 0.33 points. So a very tight game, basically a pick there in that regard as well. But I think the reason why I'd be hesitant to do it now is because we're probably going to see this line shift towards the Browns once we see the final injury report come out on Friday, because I don't think Beckham will play. I don't think Bateman will play. I think that Ronnie Stanley will be back at left tackle for the Ravens, which is a good thing for them because he's missed the past 2 games and missed most of week 1 as well. Linderbaum, I don't think will go, but they're missing a lot of guys, and we'll probably see movement towards the Browns. So I think that if you want the Ravens, I would wait until the injury report is out because we're probably going to see things shift towards Cleveland then. Honestly, Ed, I have enough faith in this team. They've played well enough through injuries so far. Like, I know they lost last week, but like you said, they still played decently well in that game, just had a lot of weird stuff break against them. So even though I know I'm betting against the market and waiting for Baltimore, I do still feel like they are the right way to go. And personally, I'd be okay taking this one once I assume we get some movement in Cleveland's favor later on.
Yeah, it's +3 Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely see that.
All right, let's talk here now about one of those afternoon games where we did not get the Bills and Dolphins flex. Instead, you are stuck watching the Patriots and the Cowboys. Right now, the Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites. Total in this game is 43.5. The Cowboys really rough loss last week as 12.5-point favorites, and they still have a lot of guys banged up along the offensive line. So, Ed, do you view this as being a bounce back spot for the Cowboys, or can the Patriots keep things tight here and cover a 6.5-point spread?
Right. I mean, I have this at Dallas by 7. I think that's about right. I mean, you mentioned all the injuries. Seems like Dallas's entire offensive line is not practicing this week, so that definitely makes me hesitant. You know, with Dallas, it's kind of like, well, you don't have Trayvon Diggs anymore on defense. Some people were excited about bringing in Brandon Cooks for the offense this year, but you know, when you kind of look at his yards per route run, he's declined steadily over the past 4 seasons. So, you know, I mean, Dak's going to be a lot better than he was last week. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's awesome, but like, what is that offense going to do beyond that, right? So, I mean, Gallup is fine, but not like great. So, I mean, I think there's some questions there. I mean, with the injuries as well. You know, when I'm looking at New England, I still don't really know what to think about this. I mean, I still find it interesting that we're past the days when we think Bill Belichick can just kind of win you a game or beat the spread. You know, they're 1-2, but probably should have beaten Philly probably could have beaten Philly week 1. And, you know, rookie quarterback Christian Gonzalez has been really good so far this year. You know, the secondary could be pretty awesome if Jonathan Jones comes back. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a stay away from me. My model's pretty close to where this line is. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on with New England. And as much as I've liked Dallas, you know, I have some bets on them to win the division. You know, I think you can start poking some holes in it as well.
And I think with Dallas, if you're looking for a buy low spot, that might not be right now because the offensive line injuries are still in place. I think the buy low spot for Dallas will more so be once they get healthier, which it's not long-term issues for their key guys along the offensive line. So I'd bet that they're healthy once again soon. I have it at 7.9 before I rule out some of the offensive linemen. So once I add that in, we'll probably be pretty close to market as well. So to me, it's also a stay away where I kind of want to wait. I think eventually we will get that buy low spot on Dallas, but I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of struggle here against a very good defense still. You know, they could use Gonzalez against Lamb. Lamb's in the slot a lot, so he's not as susceptible to Gonzalez as others. But like if you're dependent on Chase Ferguson, Michael Gallup, and Brandon Cooks, that's probably not going to be the best spot for New England or for Dallas. So I agree. The buy low spot for Dallas likely comes later on. Let's open things up for week number 4, Ed. Where else do you see value across this week at FanDuel Sportsbook?
Yeah, you know, I've been looking at going against Tennessee again. So Cincinnati goes to Tennessee, and you know, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, you know, Cincinnati started this last year 0-2. They started this year 0-2. Everyone was sweating what was going to happen on Monday night, whether Joe Burrow was going to play. He did. They win, and now they actually like have like a pretty clean injury sheet. There's kind of like no one on there, which is a little bit weird. I think Cincinnati's good. It looks like the defense might not be quite as good as last year, but I thought last year was a little bit fluky for their defense. And, you know, I think their offense is going to be amazing. I mean, eventually, I think, well, maybe not amazing, but it's going to be better than it has been. I'm not high on Tennessee. I think we talked about this after the show, but I just kind of don't think they're very good. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is very good. They added DeAndre Hopkins, and that's, looking like a good move so far. I know he's got 1.87 yards per route run this year. That's better than the 1.5 average you get for wide receivers in the NFL. But he's also really not the player he was 3-4 years ago either. So, like my model's making this Cincinnati by about 5.5 points here. A lot of value there. I'm going to go against Tennessee again. I'm not really sure how this team beat the Chargers. It's just not, how I expect. I just don't think that team is very good. I think Cincinnati is still a Super Bowl contender as long as Burrow's healthy. So I like Cincinnati minus 2.5 here.
We're in the exact same spot as last weekend, where you said you like the Browns minus the points. I said I had already bet their money line. Same thing here. I've already bet the Bengals money line, currently minus 142 at FanDuel Sportsbook. I think that's a very forgiving number. This Titans defense is real bad. Like the secondary, at least, is real bad. And like you can't run on them, which is fine, but it funnels more work towards the passing game. And the passing game for the Bengals, even with Burrow banged up, is more efficient than the running game. So I don't think that's a great approach from Tennessee. Like they are kind of hurting themselves by encouraging teams to throw the ball against them when their corners are bad. And that has hurt them quite a bit. So I couldn't agree more, Ed. I think that it makes a lot of sense to go against Tennessee once again. Bengals money line for me at minus 142. Ed likes the minus 2.5, which is minus 106. And I agree. Both those bets pretty solid based on the way these two teams mesh up. That is all that we have here for today on covering the spread, and that's all we have for you this weekend. But it's fun chatting a decent college football slate and a very fun NFL slate with you. People are trying to find your member numbers, find everything else. Where can they find that on your end?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything I do is at thepowerrank.com. You can sign up for my free email newsletter. I always come up with 5 Nuggets Saturday every Saturday morning. So if you're looking for action on any given weekend, this is going to be the service for you. Check it out at thepowerrank.com. Members of my site get access to all my best predictions. I have a weekly analysis column, and I usually put a bunch of NFL interception props based on some of the bad ball analysis that I've done. Those are doing pretty well through 3 weeks. So you can check that out at thepowerrank.net.
We were talking after the show yesterday about how you were sweating Zach Wilson under to not throw a pick basically last weekend, which was plus 150 something. And hey, it didn't look pretty, but that's not the point. You're not betting if it'll look pretty. You're betting if he'll throw a pick, and he didn't. So that's
exactly. I wrote, quote, "This next one might make you throw up." Zach Wilson has thrown 4 picks in 2 games, but the numbers like him. So, it's just a matter of the number that you're going to get. And then, he has not thrown a pick in 11 of 24 games. So if you're getting plus 150-ish, there's value there. So, I know it was an interesting sweat. It's been interesting. Like most of the interception bets have been on the over, which actually surprised me. I did not think that was going to be the case, particularly with the declining interception rate. But I think, I don't know. I mean, the market's just off in that direction. And it's like, as like a quantitative bettor, you don't often get to bet the over.
No.
And watch like Baker Mayfield throw a pick and get excited and like kind of not give a crap about the rest of the game, right? It's kind of fun. So that's been good. Like I mean, the Wilson one was the only under that I've had all season. And you can understand why, right? He's just thrown so many picks, and like he's got that history against Bill Belichick, but it worked out this time.
Yeah. Well, love to see it. Hopefully this week goes well. Also, again, to sign up, go to thepowerrank.com. Find Ed on Twitter at thepowerrank and check out his other football podcasts as well, the Football Analytics Show. I am on Twitter at Jim Sannes, JIMSANNES. We are back once again tomorrow breaking down player props with JJ Zacharyson, strikeout props with pitching ninja Rob Freeman, and I'll be talking NASCAR in Talladega as well. We'll talk to all of you then. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. This has been Covering the Spread right here on the FanDuel Podcast Network.